In the chronicles of the Galactic Empire, no name provoked more terror than the Zarkul. A species born in black holes and tempered in planetary wars, they were the perfect predators, exoskeletal titans with neural-linked instincts and blood that burned like acid. For 10 millennia, they dismantled civilizations with clinical efficiency. No one resisted. No one survived. Fear was their currency, and dominance was their law. But then came Earth. An unaligned world tucked away in a forgotten system, its name barely whispered in the Empire's archives. It wasn't conquest-worthy. It was quarantined, flagged millennia ago by the ancient architects as a red zone. The Zarkul laughed. Quarantine? The Empire called it a myth wrapped in fear. Earth was just another primitive backwater waiting to be erased. So they came, without hesitation, without backup, without doubt. The first fleet, Scout-class destroyers, descended in waves. Their mission was simple: scan, assess, and establish forward ground bases. They never reported back. Signals went silent. Telemetry froze mid-ping. Empire Command chalked it up to magnetic interference, primitive tech blinding the systems. Emperor Zarek, High Overlord of the Zarkul, watched from the bridge of his dreadnought with mild interest. Earth's blue-green visuals glowed on the screen. Beautiful, he muttered with amusement. Shane will have to burn it. To him, this wasn't war, it was cleansing. The second wave followed, this time with dropships, land crawlers, and planet crackers. Zarkul soldiers, each one a walking fortress, touched down on Earth's surface, expecting resistance. They found forests, abandoned cities, empty roads. No humans. No military. Just silence. The command units fanned out. Patrols were dispatched. Bioscans ran loops searching for heat signatures. Nothing. Then came the first scream, short, guttural, and wet. One patrol lost. Then another. No energy blasts. No clean kills. Just mangled remains dragged into the brush. The soldiers adjusted. Standard tactics failed. Their AI war compilers attempted new formations. Still, they died. One by one. Not in glorious battle, but ambushed, confused, dismantled. The enemy never showed its face. The Zarkul had always fought enemies who feared death. But these ghosts hunted them like prey. On board the orbital fleet, confusion grew. Orders were repeated. Responses became static. Emperor Zarek's grin started to fade. No images. No visuals. Just garbled transmissions of screams, heavy breathing, and phrases like, "They're not normal," and "They know we're here before we move." At last, one message came through, a single visual file. A Zarkul soldier, pinned to a tree with makeshift blades carved from alloy. His armor ripped. On his chest, a crudely etched human phrase. "Try again." Zarek stood in silence. He'd seen defiance before. He'd watched enemies pray and beg before death. But this was something else. There was no fear. No plea. Just a challenge. He ordered a full-scale deployment. No more scouts. No more half measures. Earth would be erased. Below, the humans remained hidden. Watching. Calculating. They weren't fighting for their planet. They were setting a trap. The drop command landed with full force. 2,000 Zarkul war beasts, 12 crawler tanks, and orbital support armed with thermal lances. Earth still offered no open resistance. Streets were deserted. Thermal scans picked up no concentrations of life. The Empire's war AI began to flag anomalies. Patterns didn't match prior conquests. The terrain showed unnatural modifications, booby traps, false signal sources, radiation spikes with no origin. The humans weren't hiding. They were leading. The Zarkul commander, Praetor Rask, split his forces for a sweep. Within minutes, his first column triggered a trap. A bridge collapsed timed with sniper fire from undetectable angles. Zarkul armor was dense, but their weak points were anatomical and well known. Bullets weren't plasma or laser, they were kinetic, primitive. But they worked. Head snapped back. Joints exploded. Internal fluids hissed in the air. Rask's remaining columns advanced slower, now suspicious. They started using drones. The drones failed. Some looped, some dropped midair, others returned with false data. Earth had countermeasures none of the Empire's models predicted. Humans weren't using advanced tech, they were corrupting it. Spoofing sensors, hacking algorithms, blending EM signatures into noise. It was low-tech brilliance, and the Zarkul couldn't adapt. Panic began in whispers. Rask's troops started to notice how no bodies were ever left behind. Their fallen disappeared. Even their wrecked machines were stripped within hours. Something was watching, harvesting, learning. Then came the sound. From forests, cities, tunnels, whispers. Human voices, soft and mocking, played through stolen comms. "We see you. You smell wrong. Wanna play again?" Zarkul language was mathematical and sharp. These tones made their skin crawl. The AI began to malfunction, confused by the psychological load. Combat algorithms flagged it: enemy is illogical. No clear objective. Emotional disruption imminent. Praetor Rask demanded orbital fire support. But targeting failed. Coordinates shifted constantly, terrain jammed their relays. In desperation, he deployed heat bombs across sectors. Still no resistance. Still silence. The jungle regrew around the scars. Then his second-in-command vanished, dragged from the command tent during a moment of rest. No alarms triggered. His armor found hours later. Empty. Ripped from the inside. Across the galaxy, other empires watching the invasion began to grow uneasy. These weren't human victories, they were disappearances. There was no heroic last stand. No open challenge. Just void. The Zarkul, the apex predators, were being stalked. One last transmission from a field unit made it back to command. A soldier, bloodied and limping, whispered, "We're not fighting animals. We're fighting ghosts." And then silence. Emperor Zarek authorized planetary annihilation. But Earth's trap wasn't just on the ground. It was already reaching upward. A human shuttle drifted into orbit under a white flag. It requested parley. Emperor Zarek, surrounded by his command elite, laughed at the audacity. He allowed them aboard for sport. 12 humans arrived, calm, unarmed, heads bowed. They wore simple clothes. Their leader, an older man with burned scars across his jaw, simply said, "We surrender." They were scanned. No weapons. No tech. They were clean. Zarek ordered them escorted to the Dreadnought's observation chamber, a towering dome of alloy and glass. As the Emperor addressed them with contempt, the lights dimmed. Doors hissed shut. Systems failed, one by one. Zarek's security AI flickered. Then died. The humans looked up. The old man whispered something into a tooth implant. Instantly, 3 guards collapsed. No energy blast. No visible attack. Just precise, targeted neural disruptions. The 12 diplomats moved, fast, silent, surgical. They weren't diplomats. They were human special operations, trained for zero-resource kill zones, immune to interrogation, fluent in infiltration. One soldier reached into his coat and pulled out nothing, then stabbed a guard with something invisible. Nanoblade. The kind that passes through armor like it's cloth. Alarms rang. Nothing responded. Internal systems were already looped. The humans hadn't just infiltrated, they had prepared this moment for weeks, using information stolen from downed Zarkul patrols. Within 20 minutes, engineering control belonged to the humans. Oxygen levels shifted. Gravity generators fluctuated. Dreadnought AI tried to reroute, only to be overwritten by a virus laced into a spoken phrase by the old man. Zarek tried to flee. Elevator locks jammed. Command crew sealed doors. One by one, his inner circle fell to traps laid from inside their own ship. The humans weren't brute force. They were erosion. Constant. Silent. Precise. And they were smiling. Security feeds broadcast their progress live across the Zarkal fleet. Soldiers watching from ground posts saw their leaders fall without a single space battle. No fleets. No lasers. Just 12 humans in enemy armor halls. The psychological damage shattered morale. Units abandoned posts. Some self-terminated. The last camera captured the old man walking up to the Emperor's throne. He didn't attack. He just stood there and whispered, "You don't understand yet. But you will." Then the camera cut out. The Zarkal dreadnought, the largest warship in the Empire's arsenal, began to drift, powerless. Earth hadn't fought their army. Earth had dismantled their myth. The dreadnought hung in low orbit, its systems offline, its crew gone. The Empire's remaining fleets received a final transmission, short, clear, and human. A voice, steady and emotionless. "Earth is not open for conquest. Return home. Do not come back." That message looped for hours across every galactic comm channel. Zarkal warships retreated without orders. Ground forces vanished into forests they could no longer navigate. Those who survived refused to speak. Their minds fractured, their instincts broken. They were built to dominate, yet had been outmaneuvered, outwitted, and undone by a species with inferior tools and superior intent. Across the Empire, questions erupted. How had 12 humans broken a dreadnought? How had Earth disabled the most advanced military in known space without firing a fleet weapon? Answers came slowly. Scholars unearthed archived architect data from before the Empire's rise. One file classified Earth's species, humanity, category red. Non-integratable. Containment advised. Lethality, variable. Predictability, none. They weren't marked dangerous because of technology. They were marked dangerous because they evolved to defy control. No empire could understand them. No algorithm could model them. No invasion could break them. What the Zarkal saw as chaos was human strategy. What they called primitive was tactical misdirection. What they mistook for fear was calculation. Galactic laws shifted. Earth became a dead zone, no fly, no trade, no entry. Not because humans threatened to attack, but because the galaxy now understood, provoking them meant becoming a target. In a hidden council chamber, Zarkal survivors debated their next move. The last speaker stood, voice shaking. "We thought we were predators. We thought Earth was prey. But the prey never hunted us back. It waited." Elsewhere, on Earth, a child laughed into a field recorder, playing with a captured Zarkal helmet. The audio leaked. Entire systems shuddered at the sound. It wasn't hate that haunted the galaxy. It was the smile behind that laugh. And the fact that humans didn't just survive war. They ended it. Months passed, and the galaxy remained silent. Trade routes near Sol rerouted. Cartographers labeled Earth's sector in red, not with warnings, but with respect. No probes. No scouts. No curiosity. The Empire issued no apology, no declaration, no retaliation. It simply pretended the incident never happened. But fear doesn't forget. Across fringe colonies, stories spread. Campfire tales of 12 ghosts who walked through steel and rewrote the laws of war. Pirates whispered about human traps that turned ambushes into mass graves. Merchants told of a species that learned by watching, waited by choice, and acted only once. And when they did, there was no second chance. The Zarkal retracted from their expansion zones. For the first time in history, they fortified. Their elite commanders studied human combat logs obsessively. But they didn't see tactics. They saw unpredictability. Improvisation. Insults used as strategy. Surrender used as misdirection. The more they analyzed, the more unstable their predictions became. The architect files resurfaced on black market networks. Translations warned not of humanity's weapons, but of their minds. "If war is waged," the record said, "humans will not escalate, they will terminate. Engagement becomes extinction." In private, the Zarkal Emperor, still alive but disgraced, issued one final decree: Earth shall remain untouched. Not from weakness, but from understanding. And Earth? It remained quiet. No messages. No threats. No demands. Humans returned to their cities, cleaned their skies, and buried their dead. No celebration. No monuments. Only preparation. Just in case. Somewhere in the jungle, a soldier disassembled his last trap. Before leaving, he carved a phrase into a metal shard and left it behind. "We are not waiting because we are afraid. We are waiting because you should be." The shard was later recovered by scavengers. It now sits in a museum on the far side of the galaxy. Most visitors think it's a bluff. Some believe it's a myth. But the wise? They stay far from Earth. Because they know. Humanity never starts the war. They just make sure it doesn't happen twice.